What's up guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to defeat the Wall of Flesh easy. So first, let's jump into the strategy. So defeating the Wall of Flesh is actually the final requirement to unlock hard mode. In order to progress onto hard mode, spawn all of the hard mode ores, the biomes, and basically change your world completely, you're going to need to kill the Wall of Flesh. That's the final objective. Now a lot of people will think it's really hard, but it's not actually as hard as you think if you actually set up correctly and prepare for it adequately. Now you'll see that I'm actually jumping down to the hell world right now through a really long tunnel, a series of blocks which I've actually mined out, which lets me drop down there in around a minute. So it's pretty easy just to go straight down there by dropping, and it's quite fast as well. You need to create one of these. This is called a elevator, and what you can do is basically burrow out a 2x2 hole, or any size you want to, whatever's more effective, or you can even blast it through with dynamite and actually create one of these elevators. Now I would recommend making this once you get rocket boots so you don't thump and hit the ground really hard, or make some platforms at the bottom, and this is the quickest way to get into the hell world, especially if you die to the boss and you need to make re-attempts. This is the fastest way to get down there. So I'm going to jump straight into it. So the armor we're going to need as a requirement is at least meteorite. Okay, to spawn meteorite you need to destroy those shadow orbs. One will spawn the Eater of Worlds, some of them will spawn meteorites and make some other events happen in the world. So that needs to be done first. You need at least meteorite armor. Now the reason why meteorite armor is good is having a full set will give you a decent amount of defense, and also it'll mean that if you make the space gun, it has unlimited ammo and it has 0 mana consumption. So that's the set bonus. So if you have the full set of armor equipped, it means that the space gun won't use any ammo or mana, which is its primary and only ammo source. This is good if you haven't collected enough mana stars, or if you just don't want to lose them and have a constant flight of bullets to use at your disposal. So this is at least meteorite, but that's not the best one. You can actually obtain Molten Armour, and the way to do this is you need to mine down in the hell world. So the first thing what you want to do is, if you want to actually have Molten Armour in this boss fight, which will actually give you more defense because it's obviously a greater tier of armor, what you want to do is you want to mine the hellstone ore. Now to do this you're going to have to create a cobalt shield and also an obsidian skull and combine them into an obsidian shield. This will give you protection from the actual damage on the ore blocks themselves on the hellstone, but it won't block you from the lava blocks. After you've crafted this, you want to make some obsidian skin potions, and this buff when drank will allow you to not take lava damage. So you can basically just mine as much ore as you need to and want to, and this is the quickest way to amass up enough ore for the molten gear set. This took me a while to gather everything and craft them, but these two things are mandatory if you want to mine ore really quick and gather them, because otherwise you'll die to the lava or the damage on the ore blocks. So now you've got the molten armor tier, you want to bring plenty of health potions and other potions which you may think may be useful. For an example, mana stars if you're using the space gun, or a mana consuming weapon or magic item when you don't have the full meteorite set or the wrong armor tier with you. Use a ranged weapon such as the space gun, which I've mentioned, the magic book from the dungeon, or a bow. A good example of one of these bows is one of them that drops from the queen bee in the jungle. It drops a really nice bow which explodes on impact if you use the right arrows, and bees come out of the arrows when you shoot it, and it's a really high damage weapon. So I'd recommend going to the jungle biome if you want a really nice ranged weapon. Now to actually spawn the boss, you need to find one of the rarer voodoo demons. This is basically a demon, but it carries a distinct lantern below it, so this distinguishes it from the normal demon mobs. Large swords can also be useful. You can use the fiery longsword, which you can also craft from the hellstone ore if you've got enough, and this has a really nice AoE area of effect and a large sweep and range over the player if you want to use melee for the fight. I'd recommend ranged, but both can be useful. Now the voodoo demon I mentioned, you need to kill this mob when there's blocks below it. Now the reason for this is if you kill it over lava, it will spawn the boss unintentionally, because the item that the voodoo demon drops will actually spawn the boss when it gets dropped in lava, which I'll expand on a little bit now. It drops an item called a guide doll. This is kind of like a voodoo doll of the guide NPC, which is obviously why it's called a voodoo demon, and dropping this guide doll into lava will spawn the Wall of Flesh, but it'll also kill the guide. Because of this, the guide has to be alive, because he's kind of used as a sacrifice to spawn the boss, and if you don't have the guide alive when you spawn the boss, you'll waste the guide doll and you'll need to find another voodoo demon, which are kind of rare spawns. Before spawning the boss, you need to create a setup, okay? Now, I probably should have mentioned this at the start of the video, but you need to create a setup. What you need to do is you need to create a really large expansive bridge in the hell world, and this may take some time. For me, it took around a total of 50 minutes from start to finish of creating the bridge, defeating the boss, and also having a second trial attempt, which was a fail the first time. This is important that you spend a lot of time on this because this means the boss will be a lot easier. I'd recommend making a much longer bridge than I did and the one you see in this video. Although it took up a good portion of space, it nearly wasn't enough and it wasn't long enough to defeat the boss. I only defeated the wall of flesh by a hair on my skin. It was a really close shave, so I'd recommend building it just that little bit longer than the one I showed as an example in this guide, just to make it a lot easier for you if you run into any problems. Go to the left and mine out the hell world through towers and objects and build over lava and leave a few blocks space above to actually jump. Use ash blocks which you actually found when mining hellstone in the hell world, because these are in abundance and you most likely have a lot of them after mining the ore. So use these or wood platforms as the platform or bridge that you're going to create. The edge of the map that you're actually closer to whilst you're in the hell world, you need to press M for the map to check this, is going to be the side that the wall of flesh boss will spawn from. So make the platform go the opposite direction to the closest side you are to the map. One strategy I didn't need to use, which I would recommend now, thinking about it in retrospect, is place campfires across this long platform so you get a constant regen buff. You want to place them maybe every 5 or 10 meters. Just place them close enough so that the buff that you get from them, which is a regen buff, doesn't disappear or is constant. This makes the fight a little bit easier. It'll mean that your health will regen quicker when out of combat or when not being attacked. Now for the boss fight itself, let's jump into the specifics. Mostly if you've made this bridge, which I've actually featured in the video, and come equipped with the correct items that I've mentioned before, it's going to be a pretty easy fight and you don't have to worry too much. However, the boss will move across the map behind you, meaning you must stay ahead. It takes up the full ceiling height of the level or the hell world, so it's physically impossible to jump over the boss. You can't just jump over its head, or you can't get hit once right next to it and then just jump behind it. That's impossible. When you get hit, you're going to be catapulted forwards when you brush into it, and you'll take a huge substantial portion of damage, so try and avoid this. You also can't escape from the fight if you're on low health or if you run into an object. You're going to have to just let the boss kill you, because if you escape by using a recall potion or the magic mirror, you're going to be instantly pulverized. You're going to die immediately, and teleporting to the spawn will insta-gib you. Mouths stretch out on flesh from the boss. Shooting them to 0 HP will mean these will each detach and spawn as a brand new eye mouth mob that can fly free towards you. So make sure you take these out first, which is why I'd recommend using ranged weapons such as the space gun like I did, because it's a lot easier to take out these mobs and focus on them with more precision. These all drop hearts as well, so take advantage of these to heal with when your potions are on cooldown, as the wall moves slowly in moments, so it can be a good time to actually go close to it and pick up these hearts. The eyes of the boss will shoot lasers, which can be distracting, but they don't actually do that much damage than you expect them to do. So don't be distracted too much by the lasers, but you definitely want to at least try to dodge these to take less damage. You can jump over these lasers if you're lucky enough, or if they're quite high, just try and ignore them and make sure to heal if you get too low. Now the highest damage receival actually comes from close contact with the mouths or the boss wall itself, so try not to get too close to it like we mentioned before. As the boss actually loses health though, its damage and speed will increase, so beware and make sure you have long enough blocks on your bridge and a width on the platform you've created to actually run to if you run into any problems. Focus on the boss's eyes themselves, as they have less defense than the mouth portions of the boss. These are the weakest points. Not just the eyes, which can detach at the start of the mouths, the actual eyes. These are the weakest points because they have 0 defense, whereas the other portion, such as the mouths, actually have quite a lot of defense in comparison. Jump over lasers and slash or fire upon these eyes to grind down the boss's HP a lot quicker. Upon defeat, in case the boss dies over lava, it will actually safely drop all of your loot in a walled off room, preventing the items from being lost or burnt in the lava. This is so you don't lose your loot, because the boss is kind of tough and it drops a really important item that you're going to need to use later. You can mine into into this box to get the loot, but you need to be aware because obviously when you're fighting the boss and when you're in the hell world, all the normal demons and the teleporting mobs and fire bats, all the mobs inside the hell world can still attack you. I nearly actually died when I just killed the wall of flesh because all of the mobs were attacking me while I was trying to loot. And there's also those teleporting demons which can fire through walls and through objects, meaning that if you're trying to loot, they can shoot you inside the box while you're looting. This definitely nearly got me killed, so just be careful. You can mine into it though to get the loot, and the 100% drop item, which is the Pwn Hammer, will be crucial for hard mode later. You can use this to destroy demon altars, and the more you destroy with this hammer in the corruption or crimson, it means that more nodes of ore, hard mode special ores, will spawn in your world, and then you can also use these to increase the tier of your pickaxe or craft better armor. So this is the most crucial item for the first stages of moving on to hard mode. I hope this guide on defeating the wall of flesh and the very first steps of transitioning into hard mode was useful. If you liked the video, smash a like on the video and make sure to subscribe and share this video with friends. I'll be bringing out some more Terraria videos eventually. Right now I'm focusing on Minecraft, but you should definitely be seeing some more Terraria videos on the channel soon. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.